Maulana Azad National Urdu University is pleased to have you with us as Mr. Danish Manzoor presents the audio lesson on Caribbean Poetry and Derek Walcott. Based on Block 6 of Paper 8, that is New Literatures in English, today's lesson is presented for the students of MA English second year.
Welcome to today's lesson on Caribbean poetry and Derek Walcott. In this lesson, I shall speak to you about Caribbean literature in general, about Caribbean poetry in particular, and finally we shall take up a close study of Far Cry from Africa to understand Caribbean poetry. Caribbean literature, or the literature of the West Indies, is not a homogeneous whole, as one would find British literature. It is in fact closer to Indian literature in the sense that it is varied and diverse like several ethnic groups in the West Indies. The impact of European literature is obvious on the early literature of the region, just as one finds Indian English literature of the early period influenced by its Western counterparts. However, with the passage of time, the colonial influence weakened considerably. If the early literature is a product of the colonial rule, then nationalistic tendencies emerge stronger in the 20th century. The study of Caribbean poetry in English, as you are already aware, begins from the 19th century. The influence of the English language is clearly perceptible as it is evident in the case of Derek Walcott. The Caribbean literature, like its other counterparts, aims at questioning the colonial past by revisiting and recounting the imperial experiences. Most of the emergent independent states in the Caribbean gained freedom post-1950. So, the nationalist zeal of the writers seeking to use literature as a medium in their struggle for freedom is predominant. At a later stage, the desire to forget the colonial past and to reinvent history are the recurrent patterns. The traumatic colonial experience cannot, however, be easily removed, and the burden of the colonial rule is perceptible in the works of the Caribbean writers. Other common trends in Caribbean literature are a sense of antagonism to the white race and the colonial power, depicting the unique identity of the colonized, a sense of fear of the impending Holocaust, a sense of anxiety at the delay in getting freedom, the presentation of the rise and fall of the colonial power, etc. The urge for self-expression is a means of exploring the greatness of one's race and to encounter the white supremacy with a new canon of writing. A study of Derek Walcott's poetry depicts the Caribbean influence on the poet who is still caught in a Eurocentric mode of expression. A detailed study of A Far Cry from Africa, as I told you, will help you to better understand Caribbean literature. Let us first look at the historical background. Derek Walcott is a Caribbean poet, born in West Indies of mixed heritage. Both his grandmothers were black, while his grandfathers were white. He shared both African and European heritage. His ethnically diverse heritage is apparent in his works as it is in A Far Cry from Africa. In the year 1888, the British East Kenya Company was established, and in 1895, Kenya came under the rule of British. In early part of 20th century, white settlers began to pour into Kenya. The British took up the work of laying roads and railways, and on the pretext of development, displaced the Kikuyu tribe from their lands. There was growing resentment against the seizure of lands. A sub-tribe of Kikuyu styled itself Mau Mau and started insurrection against the British rule in 1952. The Mau Mau insurgency went on till 1960. The poem A Far Cry from Africa was established in 1962 and the British rule ended in 1963. The violent Mau Mau uprising fought not only against the British supremacy and oppression, but was also in turn violent towards all whites and all white-owned animals also. Even the fellow Kikuyus who did not support their activities were mercilessly slaughtered. Thus, the Africans had to face double strife. The fight against the colonial oppression of the white man and the excesses of its own black people. This duality and the double conflict is reflected both in the external strife in Africa and in the internal strife undergone by Walcott because of his mixed heritage and dual loyalty. The poem A Far Cry from Africa explores these concerns, as we shall see now. The deep-rooted anguish for the plight of African nations and its people who suffer under the subjugation of the white colonial powers is clearly brought to the surface by Derek Walcott in the present poem. Africa is depicted as a skinned animal with the light yellow-brown color. The opening image is important for a proper reading of the grim poem. The wind that is changing times disturbs the surface of Africa in general and that of the Kenyans in particular. As pointed out earlier, the backdrop of the poem is the Mau Mau insurrection from 1952 to 1960. The whole of the poem is rich in imagery that conveys the duality, the violence and the clash of identity that is characteristic of the historical background in which the poem is placed and the autobiographical tone it presents. Africa, as I told you just now, is depicted as a skinned animal who is yet undiminished, like the majestic lion killed and skinned by the hunters. Africa offers sustenance to others. The colonial powers had profited from the material wealth of Africa. Even when it has been stripped of its riches, it continues to provide succor to the white imperialists. While this image of Africa is disturbing in itself, what is more pathetic is that fellow Africans live in disunity and inflict violence on their own race. As has been pointed out earlier, the Mau Mau rebellion broke out in 1952 with a sub-tribe of the Kikuyus fighting to reclaim their land from the white imperial power. However, in the violent struggle, not only the white but his innocent children and even his animals were targeted. The fellow Kikuyus who did not believe in the Mau Mau ideology or who did not support the insurrection were also mercilessly killed. The image of the African open lands scattered with corpses and streams of blood depict the gruesome reality of the 1950s. No sense of compassion prevails in the African society and, ironically, upright man seeks divinity with inflicting pain. A state of delirium prevails and savage laws rule the day. The African lands famous for their wildlife had since ages attracted hunters in search of game, and in the present scenario, the law of the jungle is extended to the human race. The image of the gorilla wrestling with the Superman is highly evocative. As pointed out earlier, gorilla stands for the African while Superman stands for the white man. The gorilla represents the primitive culture of Africa. It also evokes a picture of brute strength. The thought of a species threatened with extinction is also conveyed by the term gorilla. On the other hand, Superman represents civilization. He is technologically powerful of the two and evokes a picture of the sublime strength. The two terms thus signify the clash between the East and the West, between the uncivilized and the civilized, between the body and the mind, between the black natives and the white imperials. Expressing the dilemma of shifting loyalties, Walcott cries out in anguish. His mixed heritage, his upbringing, his love for his motherland, and his pride in his home away from home, that is, Western world, are skillfully depicted thus. I who am poisoned with the blood of both, where shall I turn, divided to the vein? Thus, to conclude, the title itself is ambiguous and presents the duality that runs through the poem. The double conscience of the narrator is reflected in the title. It is obvious that he is at a distance from Africa, where all the action is. It is a cry of anguish at the bloodshed in one's own land. It is an effort at sending across a message of peace, however discreet it may be. At the time, it is the sound of an anguished Africa that is sent out to its people spread across the world. The bleeding motherland sends out its cry to the narrator, who emphasizes with its oppression but fails to offer succor. That will be all in today's lesson. Until we meet again next time, this is Danish Manzoor signing off. Script Dr. Gulfishan Habib.
If you have any comments or suggestions, please write to us at the following address: The Director, Directorate of Distance Education, Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Gachibowli, Hyderabad 500032. I'll repeat the address for you again. The Director, Directorate of Distance Education, Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Gachibowli, Hyderabad 500032. The production team: Producer Mr. Rafiq Ur Rahman, Production Assistant Mr. Mohammad Ghaus, Technician Mr. Satish Kumar Gupta. A Maulana Azad National Urdu University production.